Before the video starts, I have a huge announcement, and that is that I have started a second channel. Don't be alarmed though, because more wrestling content is going to be posted to this YouTube channel. That includes reaction videos, tier lists, reviews, and basically any wrestling content that you wouldn't find on this channel, I'm going to post over there on my second channel. And in fact, I've already got a video up there. Link in the description, top link to my new video on my new channel. Give it a subscribe, give that video a like, but let's just get into this video first. What's going on, guys? It's Tom or Tops on Wrestling, and welcome to the third episode of TNA versus WWE. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but today we're going to be discussing whether Kurt Angle was better in TNA or WWE. We've done episodes so far for Christian Cage and AJ Styles, and currently TNA are 2-0 up. Can that change though? We will see. Before we get into it though, I'd like to thank my Patreon backers, all listed here. For more exclusive content and perks, check out my Patreon links down below. It would really help me during these trying times, and it would be very much appreciated. But let's get into this video.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and you are watching Top 10 Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Following the 1996 Olympics, where Kurt Angle won the wrestling gold medal with a broken freaking neck, he was offered a 10-year contract with the WWF, but talks broke down as Kurt Angle didn't want to lose any matches, and this was probably due to his inexperience and misunderstanding of the pro wrestling business. But after this, Kurt Angle's opinion on pro wrestling would change, and he would gain more knowledge after he began watching the product, and he would eventually be signed to a 5-year contract to the WWF in 1998, and he reported to WWF's developmental leagues. He made a few appearances on Sunday Night Heat, as well as doing dark matches and house shows. It was around this time where WWF higher-ups really noticed how quickly Angle had taken to the business. Triple H has been quoted in the past saying that Angle was the fastest guy he's ever seen at picking up the wrestling business. Angle would make his official debut for the company at the 1999 Survivor Series. He began using his famous theme song and was now an integrated member of the roster. But despite being portrayed as an Olympic hero, Kurt Angle was turned heel fairly soon after debuting, and this would help him to find his first bit of title success, winning both the European and IC titles in February 2000. He would lose them at WrestleMania 2000 in a triple threat involving Benoit and Jericho. He would find even more success later this year, winning the King of the Ring tournament, and then at No Mercy defeated The Rock to become the WWF champion. He would hold the title until 2001 when he lost it back to The Rock at No Way Out. It was also this year that the Invasion angle took place, which honestly, I'm just going to kind of skim through Angle's involvement in the Invasion because I kind of hate talking about the Invasion. It's been talked about to death. Basically, WCW and ECW wrestlers invaded WWF. Kurt Angle turned back face to join Team WWF to fight the Alliance. Then at Invasion, Angle and Austin captained a team of 5 superstars against 5 handpicked members of the Alliance, but then they lost after Steve Austin turned on them and joined the Alliance, hitting Angle with a Stone Cold Stunner. Angle would have lots of title success during this time, including the WCW Championship, WCW United States Championship, Hardcore Championship, and at SummerSlam, he defeated Austin to win the WWF Championship. Angle would turn heel and join the Alliance, but then at Survivor Series he rejoined Team WWF, helping The Rock beat Austin in a winner-takes-all match between the WWF and the Alliance. Heading into 2002, Angle entered his first ever Royal Rumble match, making it to the final 2 and getting the runner-up position. Later that year, Angle would team up with Chris Benoit and they would become the inaugural WWE Tag Team Champions, making Angle the 5th Grand Slam champion. This was in a match at No Mercy against Rey Mysterio and Edge, which was a Match of the Year contender. He would win the WWE Championship once more at Armageddon, defeating Big Show with the help of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar would then win the 2003 Royal Rumble match, leading to WrestleMania 19, where we had Kurt Angle versus Lesnar for the title. He had to take some time off after this match due to getting neck surgery and a bunch of other injuries, but when he returned as a face in June, he would defeat Lesnar and Big Show in a triple threat match at Vengeance to regain the WWE Championship. He would lose the title to Brock Lesnar in the famous SmackDown Iron Man match in September 18, 2003. In 2004, he got into a feud with Eddie Guerrero, who had defeated Lesnar at No Way Out to win the title, and it was Kurt Angle versus Eddie at WrestleMania 20, with Eddie Guerrero getting the all-important win. Not much else really happened in 2004 for Kurt Angle other than the Daniel Puder moment, which has been talked about to death, so you can find your own info on that, but pretty crazy stuff happened there with him and Daniel Puder. Throughout 2005, Angle would have various feuds with the likes of Shawn Michaels, Booker T, and that famous one where he tried to get Booker T's wife. He wrestled at ECW One Night Stand, and 2005 was a great year in ring-wise for Kurt Angle. Fast forward to January 2006, where Angle returns to the SmackDown brand in a Battle Royal and won the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. He will lose the title to Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania in a triple threat, also involving Randy Orton. In May 2006, he was drafted to the new ECW brand, but he would not be around for much longer in the WWE due to him being released from the company due to various issues going on in his life, including stuff with drugs and stuff with rehab, which I don't want to get into, but he ultimately left the company. And that is when TNA Wrestling would snap him up in what they called their biggest signing of all time. He debuted on the October 19th episode of Impact as a face, immediately started feuding with Samoa Joe, and at Genesis, he defeated Joe to end Joe's famous undefeated streak. Now, there's many people who say he shouldn't have done it. I agree he shouldn't have been the one, but that doesn't change how awesome the match was. Angle had his first title shot at Against All Odds, which he lost to Christian Cage after interference from Tom Cole and Scott Steiner, leading to a feud between Angle and Steiner, where Angle pinned Steiner at Destination X, and then at Lockdown it was Team Angle versus Team Cage, with Team Angle getting the win. At Sacrifice, it was set to be a triple threat between Cage, Angle, and Sting for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, but the day of the pay-per-view, the owner of the NWA pulled out all the titles from TNA, ended the alliance with TNA, so Kurt Angle won the match and won the World Heavyweight Championship, which the title was being billed as. And then on the Impact following the event, he came to the ring with the new TNA World Heavyweight Championship and proclaimed himself as the first ever TNA World Champion. But then the title was vacated due to a controversial finish, and then there was a tournament held for the title, which ended with a King of the Mountain match at Slammiversary, which Angle won anyway. So what was really the point of vacating it? Then it was at this point that Kurt Angle would begin feuding with Samoa Joe once again. This is because Kurt Angle was the IWGP Heavyweight Champion and the TNA World Champion, while Joe was the Sole Tag Champion and the X Division Champion, and they were feuding for all the belts. I've done a whole video on this before, but basically just to sum it up, at Hard Justice, Kurt Angle won the match, won every belt, but over the next couple months would end up losing all the belts respectively. He lost the X Division title to Jay Lethal, the tag title to Team Pac-Man, and at Bound for Glory, he lost the world title to Sting, but then won it back on the October 25th episode of Impact. 3-time world champ in TNA already. Angle would hold the title for 6 months before losing the title at Lockdown 2008 to Samoa Joe in another awesome match between the two of them. Kurt Angle would take some time off due to a neck injury and return and start feuding with AJ Styles in a feud where AJ ended up getting the better of him. But it was later that year in 2008 when the Main Event Mafia would form. A stable made up of Kurt Angle, Kevin Nash, Sting, Booker T, and then a bit later Scott Steiner would join. A team of former world champions, a team of veterans and prestige. It was an awesome stable. The first half of 2009 was pretty much built around the Main Event Mafia versus the TNA front line, and it wouldn't be until midway through the year where there would be some collusion between the Main Event Mafia members when Sting ended up becoming the new leader by pinning Kurt Angle at Sacrifice to take that role in a 4-way match. Then at Slammiversary in a King of the Mountain match, Angle won the TNA World title once again with help from Samoa Joe, who had joined the Main Event Mafia, was confirmed on the following episode of Impact, where also Angle would become the leader once again when he attacked Sting and kicked Sting out of the group. There would be a 5-way match at No Surrender between Angle, Styles, Hernandez, Matt Morgan and Sting, where AJ Styles would win the title and end Kurt Angle's reign. The Main Event Mafia would end up dying towards the end of that year. Then in 2010, Hogan came in. Kurt Angle started feuding with AJ Styles for the title. They had 2 pay-per-view matches for it, both awesome, but Angle would not win the title. He'd have that awesome feud with Mr. Anderson, including the 2 matches at Destination X and Lockdown, both of which Angle would win. Later that year, there would be a tournament for the vacant title, which would culminate in a match for the title at Bound for Glory. It ended up being a triple threat match with Jeff Hardy, Mr. Anderson, and Kurt Angle, who made it to the final, but did not win, as Jeff Hardy won the title, turned heel, formed Immortal. I talked about it in my last video. Check it out if you want. Literally the last video on my channel. In 2011, Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett would have a very long blood feud. They had an MMA match at Genesis, which got thrown out. They had a singles match at Against All Odds, which Jarrett won. Then at Lockdown, they had an Ultra Male Rules 2 out of 3 falls match, which Kurt Angle won. Then at Sacrifice, Angle and Chyna defeated the Jarretts in a mixed tag match. Then at Slammiversary, Angle defeated Jarrett, what was billed as the final match. However, it wasn't, because on the following episode of Impact, Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett had a parking lot brawl where if Jarrett lost, he'd have to move to Mexico. Jarrett lost. Angle would then align himself with Sting, helping Sting to regain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Then at Hardcore Justice, Angle defeated Sting to win the world title, turning heel. He would hold the title all the way up until just after Bound for Glory, where he would lose the title to James Storm following interference from Bobby Roode. He would then feud with Storm, with them trading wins at Final Resolution and at Genesis. He would start feuding with AJ Styles again, which saw them have matches at Sacrifice, but then AJ Styles and Angle teamed up to win the TNA World Tag Titles at Slammiversary, just to lose them 2 weeks later. For the next couple years in his TNA career, Kurt Angle wouldn't have too much in terms of title success, still was about doing stuff. He reformed the Main Event Mafia and feuded them with Aces and Eights. He was inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame in 2013. He became an on-screen authority figure in June of 2014, and he would have his 6th and final World Championship reign in 2015 before finally departing from TNA in 2016. He would make his return to the WWE in 2017 as part of the Hall of Fame. He became the on-screen Raw GM the night after WrestleMania. He would have a whole lot go on that year, including the Jason Jordan is his son storyline. That was pretty crazy. And at TLC, he would make his return to the ring. He had to be a replacement to Roman Reigns, who was out due to medical issues. He teamed with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins to face The Miz, Braun Strowman, Kane, Cesaro, and Sheamus in a TLC match where Angle came out as a member of The Shield. He was part of Team Raw at Survivor Series. At WrestleMania 34, he teamed up with Ronda Rousey to defeat Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. And also that year, he was phased out of power as Raw GM by Constable Corbin. Remember that? I forgot that even happened. Fast forward all the way to the March 11th episode of Raw. Angle announced he would retire at WrestleMania 35 and chose Baron Corbin as his final opponent. And over the following weeks, he embarked on a farewell tour, facing the likes of Apollo Crews, Chad Gable, Samoa Joe, and AJ Styles. And at WrestleMania 35, Angle lost to Corbin in a very, very disappointing match. And that's it. This video might be all over the place. I tried to skim through it as much as I can. I didn't want to do an entire video on Kurt Angle's career because it would be way more detailed and way longer. But where do I think he was better? He was brilliant both places he was at, WWE and TNA. I think there's an argument for either, but ultimately I have to go with WWE. The fact is, I think his time in WWE is just going to be remembered more than his time in TNA. You know, the things like the theme song and the "You Suck" chants. And overall, I just think his time in WWE was more memorable. And I think both of them treated him equally. And he was a main eventer and a multi-time world champion in both companies. But for the fact that his time in WWE is going to be looked at as more iconic than most people, then I have to agree. So WWE get their first win in this series. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, then be sure to smack that like button. Check out my new channel, linked in the description. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Check out my podcast, Patreon, all that jazz. See you all soon. Goodbye, and keep on rolling.
I know you wanted me to stay. We were just